I don't always listen to advice from my older brother. You know, I think it's just a younger brother kind of thing. But one of the best bits of advice that I did listen to was when I was about to retire. See, he retired before me, and he said, make sure you find a hobby, or you will quickly get bored. He was right. My retirement hobby is one I've enjoyed my whole life: photography and videography combined with travel. This was one of the key motivations for this YouTube channel. I'm Steve.
I'm Nancy, and together with
Mars the Blind Sheltie
and Phoebe, the warrior princess, we are living our dream. Our goal, to travel the U.S. and Canada
while spreading the messages taught to us by our pets of
keep smiling, be kind,
and be happy. Join us on our travels by subscribing to our channel as we continue our great adventure. Let us know what your hobby is by leaving us a comment below. Recently, when visiting Port Charlotte, we had an opportunity to talk to some of our friends about their hobbies. When did you buy your first train? Your first G-scale train? How old were you? Do you remember?
Oh, I just retired.
Oh, you didn't even start this until you retired.
I didn't touch it till I retired.
Oh! Dean is in his 80s now, and he's been collecting the G-scale trains for quite a while. He has trains displayed all around his house, as well as an indoor layout in his shed and an outdoor layout behind the house.
I've been a hobbyist for a long, long time. I started out with HO and had a big layout in my basement when we lived in Lincoln, Nebraska.
And how old were you then?
In my 20s.
Well, in Port Charlotte, we stayed with another friend who had a very unique hobby, something I always enjoyed in the past: model trains.
And then I got into, I think it was RC flying.
Okay.
And so I started out with just, a smaller unit, and ended up building those 10 to 12 foot wingspan planes.
Oh, yeah. Dean grew up building HO model trains, but also tinkered with remote control planes and model racing boats.
But when we moved from Cleveland then, my wife said, look, I'm not going to pay for a truck just to haul your toys. It's for our furniture. So I sold them all.
Oh, okay.
And then I got into, well, down here, into boating and flying airplanes, pontoon airplanes. But when you get like the one in the shed, I think it's there. I've got 25 cars on the 2 engines. See that the Budweisers? That's what
3 Budweisers, yeah.
John Deere.
Yeah. So just each of them just means something different.
Yeah, I grew up with John Deere.
They make a lot of noise.
Yeah. When you get outside, you don't hear as much.
Okay, let's go ahead and try the trolley one then. If we can turn these down. There it goes.
Yeah.
It comes. And goes over to the circus. In 2022, Hurricane Ian did a lot of damage to Fort Myers, Port Charlotte area, and Dean's outdoor track was damaged. He's been trying to repair it ever since. So Nancy was able to utilize a couple of her hobbies, including gardening and building things, to help Dean out. First, we helped lay out some of the artificial grass. That feels hot to us.
Feels good.
Then Nancy helped Dean replant all of the flowers. Upon hearing that Dean needed a new bird cage, this is a small house to protect all of the transformers and controllers for the outdoor railroad, Nancy took it upon herself to build one for him. Being able to enjoy your hobbies is one thing, but being able to help others while enjoying your hobbies, well, that's pretty awesome. Me, I was like a kid again, talking to Dean and playing with his trains. And we could easily see how his hobby is helping him with focus and enjoyment in his retirement.
I've wanted to weld for probably 20 years. Maybe it's because that there's that creative side of me, and using the welding to make things, not necessarily, I don't want to get a job as a welder, commercially, okay? I just want to be able to do it. And if the occasion arrives and I want to, there's been times where I said, dang, I just need a welder and I'd be fine, and it would have, probably come in handy.
Nancy has always enjoyed doing things with her hand and creating things. And one of her lifelong desires was to learn how to weld. We were fortunate enough to spend a couple of months in Fort Charlotte, Florida, next to good friends. And one of those friends used to be a shop teacher and had several welding machines in his garage. So Nancy took advantage of both the machines as well as Tom's guidance.
Which means you're moving too fast.
Too fast.
Okay. So the longer you stay, the bigger the puddle will be, all right? Let's pretend that right here are two pieces of metal joined together.
Okay.
You're gonna make an eye straight line, okay?
Okay.
And you're gonna keep it going, don't let it stop. You got plenty of rod there.
Nancy did pretty well.
Can you see
But
it
she
once
learned
you get
this
started?
was going to be something very difficult for her to do.
Because if you
And
can't
it took
see
a lot
it,
of
you won't
practice.
know where you're going.
Okay.
Tom started
Go
Nancy
ahead.
out with AC welding. And Nancy found AC welding the most difficult.
My natural reaction is to jump when you see that spark. I mean, most people don't jump into a fire, or anything. So that was my normal reaction. And so I kept sticking it. That's a hard part.
Yeah, hold it closer to the rod so you have more control.
Okay. Tom and I talked before I started, and he reiterated to me, it's about the control of it. It's about the angle. So when you're practice maintaining that angle, that 45-degree angle.
Take control of the rod. Put it where you want. You don't want too much pressure on it. You want it just to barely touch and keep that arc going. Go for it.
Next was wire welding. Nancy took to this much better.
You want to fill that crack with weld. So don't go too fast. How's it look? Did it actually weld?
Actually welded, I believe.
Let me see. I have clean surface for the wire welding.
Yeah.
Rust and all that other stuff, it's got to be gone.
It's got. But Tom was good. Tom was patient and getting me to, and telling me to drag it, not poke it, but drag it.
Nancy finally settled on DC welding as a good compromise between the ease of use of wire welding and the capabilities of AC welding.
Now I'm going too slow.
It takes practice.
Yeah.
You're doing better at keeping a beat on this
It's
stuff.
different, like I said, it's a totally different feel.
Yeah.
See if I can just finish off this.
All right. Go ahead and play with it. But remember, when you start getting a splattered spot that's real dirty, it's not going to work real well.
Okay. Today, I felt like at least I could work. I was getting the arc. So once I got the arc, fairly consistently. And it was, I was able to concentrate more on the other things that he was telling me, to do and not to do.
Guarantee it? Well, what I do with mine too is
I know. You have to.
Crap out of it after you're done, and if it comes apart, you did well.
The last weld there, before we were getting ready to do it, he says, okay, now I'm going to give you one more, and it's a hard one, and we'll see how you do with this. He says, put down the best weld that you can put down. And so, it was an outside corner that I had to weld. And yeah, the sense of accomplishment, hearing him say, that's awesome. That's a perfect weld.
Probably a little warm, huh?
So this is the test.
Okay, you passed.
Woohoo! All right. I mean, he took that thing, he threw it down on the ground, and then he took a sledgehammer to it and was banging on it. And I'm going like this. I didn't know what he was going to do. He says, yeah, this is Ivan's test. Granted, there are jobs that are best left to professional, but I feel like, I could put down a weld that would get us to someplace that we can get that done if need be. Or, I might put down such a good weld, I might just say, hey, I'm pretty confident. That's what makes life exciting and interesting, is doing something different and something that challenges you. Now, if I really wanted to be challenged, I would go in the kitchen. it's a new experience. I mean, for some people, they may want to learn how to sail, you know, or jump out of an airplane and learn how to dive, skydive. I don't know that I don't necessarily do these things for a rush, because there's not really a rush that I have in doing these things. It's more of a, wow, that's awesome. I can do this. And now I know, hey, if I need to, or if I want to, or whatever, I could do this. So, yeah, I learned a lot.
I hope you can find a hobby to enjoy both before as well as after retirement that brings you half as much happiness as Dean's dreams bring to him, or as much fulfillment as Nancy's hobbies bring to her. As always, keep smiling and be kind. Safe travels, everyone. You filled every place with something different to look at. You almost don't see him. There he is. Woody.
Now this one.
Well, I see Donald Duck here.